Before we deconstruct the terrifying biological deficit that is actively destroying the careers of millions of professionals across the global grid, I have exactly 3 critical questions for you to answer in the comments below. Number 1. Are you currently blaming the economy or your management team for lack of career momentum, completely blind to the fact that you haven't sustained 3 hours of uninterrupted, deep focus on a single complex task in over 6 months? Number 2, do you understand the lethal mathematical differences between reacting to an algorithmic noise, hyper distracted operator, and architecting long form strategy as an un-automatable architect? Number 3, if an enterprise artificial intelligence can instantly synthesize your basic code, email, and financial models, do you possess the biological focus required to execute the high friction reasoning that the machine cannot replicate? Let me know your answer. For those who are new to the channel, I'm Dr. HR. I approach the global capital and labor market not with emotional comforting advice, but as a cold structural algorithmic system. I hold a PhD in human resources, a master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TISS in Mumbai, and a bachelor's in computer engineering. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for Tier 1 corporate entities, sovereign wealth funds, and apex tech founders across the Middle East and India, I monitor exactly how global talent acquires maximum leverage and how it systematically destroys its own value. The market does not reward you for how fast you respond to a Slack message. It rewards you for an absolute depth of your interrupted human judgment. In 2026, the wealth gap isn't just about your bank balance. It is about your brain biological ability to stay on a single task while the corporate world drowns in an algorithmic noise, pinging notifications, and fragmented attention span. Your cognitive bandwidth has mathematically become the rarest commodity on earth. If you cannot focus, you are not just unproductive, you are becoming a highly replaceable low-tier operator in an AI-driven economy. Generative AI can mimic your writing and your coding, but it cannot replicate the deep frictional analysis required to lead modern industries. You are entering a global cognitive crisis where focus is an absolute singular differentiator left between the elite strategist and an obsolete. Before I completely dismantle the illusion of multitasking, expose the exact mathematical penalty of attention economy, and give you the precise architectural blueprint to reclaim your cognitive sovereignty, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor and capital market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these execution protocols. Stop handing your career over to the noise. Start engineering your focus. Grab a notebook. It is time to audit your biological bandwidth. Phase 1. The Contrarian Reality Check. The new wealth gap. We must first diagnose the exact debilitating neurological and economic trap that has paralyzed the white-collar workforce across Bangalore, Silicon Valley, and the UAE mainland. For the last 20 years, society defined the wealth gap strictly through the lens of fiat currency, real estate asset, and stock portfolio. But in 2026, hyper-automated economy, the true bottleneck has shifted from accumulation of physical capital to the preservation of biological processing power. We are living in an attention economy, a system structurally designed to extract, commodify, and sell your focus. Large technology platforms do not want your money, they want your microseconds. Every autoplay video, every algorithmic timeline, every urgent red notification badge on your corporate dashboard is engineered by thousands of PhDs to hijack your prefrontal cortex. This has created a massive invisible bifurcation in the labor market. 1. The depleted operator. These professionals' working memory is fractured. They operate in a state of continuous partial attention. They switch between 12 browser tabs, answer emails while sitting in a strategic meetings, and rely entirely on AI to do their heavy lifting because they no longer possess the stamina to read a 40-page technical brief. They are a passive consumer of tasks. 2. The sovereign architect. This professional treat their attention as a highly guarded, gated sanctuary. They refuse to play the reactive game. They deploy deep focus to execute long-term reasoning, allowing them to see structural pattern and second-order risk that depleted operator completely misses. When the market is flooded with depleted operator, cognitive bandwidth becomes rarest commodity on earth. The corporate executive board does not pay a premium for someone who can answer 100 emails an hour. They pay a multi-million dirham premium for the sovereign architect who can lock themselves in a room for 4 hours, unplug from algorithmic noise, and design a complex supply chain pivot that saves the enterprise from bankruptcy. If you cannot sustain deep focus, you have surrendered the only asset that makes you valuable. Phase 2. The architecture of attention, the 23-minute penalty. To understand why your lack of focus is destroying your career, we must quantify the damage using the cold physics of cognitive science. We must execute the mathematical penalty calculation. Let us look at the verified telemetry of a modern 2026 workplace. Recent behavioral studies reveal that a human working memory can only actively hold approximately 4 chunks of information at any given time. If you are architecting a complex corporate merger or writing high-stakes proprietary code, those 4 slots are operating at maximum biological capacity. The average corporate employee receives a digital ping, a Slack message, a Teams notification, a calendar invite approximately every 2 minutes. Over a full cycle, that equates to roughly 275 interruptions a day. Here is where the structural hemorrhage occurs. Research proves that it takes the human brain an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully return to the original depth of focus after a single interruption. This is not a slight annoyance, it is a cognitive tax. When your phone vibrates and you glance at it for 3 seconds, you have not just lost 3 seconds, you have violently flushed the complex architecture you are holding in your working memory. Your brain must expend massive biological energy to reload the context, reestablish the logical variable, and climb back to the apex of a thought process. If you are interrupted every 15 minutes and it takes you 23 minutes to refocus, you are mathematically operating in a permanent state of cognitive deficit. You are bringing the mental equivalent of a dull butter knife to a high-stakes corporate gunfight. This is why you feel exhausted at 5 p.m. despite having accomplished absolutely nothing of a strategic value. Your brain burned all of its fuel simply trying to navigate the friction of context switching. You are bankrupting your biological asset. Phase 3. The high-stakes friction of AI, the automation arbitrage. Amateur professionals assume that because artificial intelligence is now so powerful, they no longer need deep focus. They assume the machine will do the deep thinking for them. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding of a cognitive economics. Generative AI is a miracle of low-friction synthesis. It can take a scattered, bulleted list and turn it into perfectly formatted 5-page corporate memo in 3 seconds. It can write standard boilerplate Python code. It can generate templates. But AI is, by definition, a mean reverting prediction engine. It calculates the statistical average of existing human knowledge. AI cannot replicate deep, high-friction analysis. AI cannot sit in a boardroom in Abu Dhabi, read the terrified micro-expression of a sovereign wealth fund manager, and adjust a $500 million negotiation strategy in real time based on unwritten geopolitical nuance. AI cannot map the messy, irrational, human, ego-driven politics that prevents 2 competing corporate departments from integrating their software. AI cannot originate a completely novel, asymmetrical market strategy that defies historical data. All of those high-value outcomes require massive, sustained, uninterrupted human logic. They require a biological brain to wrestle with contradictory variables for hours on end until a breakthrough occurs. We are entering a phase where the machine does the easy work perfectly. Therefore, the only work left for humans that commands a high salary is the extraordinary hard work. Focus is the absolute singular differentiator left between the elite strategist who command the AI swarm and an obsolete operator who are automated by it. If you hand your attention over to algorithmic noise, you forfeit your ability to do the hard work. A prompt monkey are replaced by better algorithms. Phase 4. The regional arbitrage, India-UAE talent dynamics. We must strictly apply this cognitive crisis to the macroeconomic realities of our India-UAE talent corridor, where the stakes are incredibly high and the pace of execution is violent. The Dubai hyperspeed market. UAE, specifically the Dubai and Abu Dhabi, operates under the accelerated mandate of a Dubai Economic Agenda D33. The capital flows are massive. The real estate projects are global, and the geopolitical positioning is hyper strategic. If you are a mid level expat executive in DIFC, the Dubai International Finance Center, your environment is designed for extreme distraction. You're dealing with multiple time zones, high status networking event, endless WhatsApp voice notes, and constant sensory overload. The Dubai market ruthlessly punishes the distracted. If you are constantly reactive, you will be consumed by the operational noise. To command a 7-figure tax-free compensation package here, you must be the operator who steps away from the networking dinner, locks themselves in an acoustic treated room, and produce the 100 pages structural brief that actually moves the macroeconomic needle for the enterprise. You win Dubai by out-focusing the competition, not by out-socializing them. The Indian cognitive gridlock. India possesses the deepest pool of technical and corporate talent on the planet, but it is currently facing a massive systematic crisis of synthetic inflation. In the corporate parks of Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Mumbai, millions of professionals are trying to outcompete each other by working 14 hours a day. But those 14 hours are filled with highly distracted, low yield activity, checking emails, sitting in useless Zoom calls, and copy-pasting AI output. The Indian professional who want to break out of a middle management commodity trap must reject the culture of performative busyness. Working more hours is not the secret to becoming unfireable. Reclaiming your long-form execution is. If you are an Indian tech lead who can sit in absolute silence for 3 hours to architect a zero-latency database structure that saves the firm millions in cloud computing cost, you bypass the entire rat race. You transcend the algorithmic noise. You become a globally exportable sovereign asset. Phase 5, the strategic career roadmap, the sovereign execution protocol. We have diagnosed the Contrarian Reality Check, mapped the exact 23 minutes cognitive penalty, exposed the friction gap of AI, and analyzed the regional arbitrage. The final phase is your immediate execution blueprint. How do you physically restructure your life to rebuild your fractured attention span? You must deploy the sovereign execution protocol. Step 1. Environmental eradication. The zero trust policy. You cannot rely on a biological willpower to fight algorithms designed by neuroscientists. You must use structural engineering. You must a zero trust policy on your digital environment. When you enter a deep work block, your smartphone is not on your desk. It is physically located in a different room. You sever the internet connection to your workstation unless it is mathematically required for the task. You close the 40 open browser tabs. You are creating a sterile cognitive operating room. If the distraction physically cannot reach your optic nerve, your willpower is preserved. Step 2. The Cognitive Barbell, pulsed execution. Do not attempt to focus for 8 hours straight. Human biology cannot sustain it. You must adopt the barbell strategy of output. The deep end. You schedule 2 strict 90-minute blocks of absolute impenetrable focus during your peak biological energy window, usually early morning. During this time, you execute the singular high-friction task that defines your market value, the shallow end. You compress all your reactive, low-value work, emails, Slack replies, administrative updates into tight 45 minutes window in the afternoon. You train your colleagues and your stakeholder that you are entirely unreachable during the deep end. You trade immediately availability for absolute un-automatable equality. Step 3. Ruthless input optimization. Your brain is a high-performance engine. You cannot feed it synthetic sludge and expect high torque output. The sovereign operator ruthlessly curate their digital input. Stop scrolling infinite short-term feed that fracture your attention span into 15 seconds interval. If you want the capacity to execute long-form strategy, you must consume long-form data. Read heavy, complex books. Watch 2 hours of technical teardown. You must actively rehabilitate your brain's ability to sustain prolonged tension without seeking a cheap dopamine release. Step 4. Weaponize the boredom. The modern professional is terrified of boredom. The moment they step into an elevator or wait in a line, they pull out their phone. To rebuild your cognitive bandwidth, you must learn to sit in the friction of boredom is the exact biological state where your brain executes background processing, pattern recognition, and lateral problem solving. When you constantly numb that friction with a screen, you lobotomize your own creativity. Reclaim the silence, let mental model collide. Phase 6. The ultimate global wealth indicator. Look closely at the executive around you. Look at the people in the coffee shop, staring blankly at their screens, their eye darting rapidly from notification to notification. They are participants in a massive global extraction operation. They're handling over their most valuable biological asset for free. The 2026 labor market is completely unforgiving to the distracted. As artificial intelligence commoditizes every low friction task on the planet, the only safe harbor left for the human worker is the deep, dark, difficult waters of sustained cognitive focus. Your ability to resist digital distraction is no longer just a nice to have productivity hack. The most profitable, un-automatable skill you can possibly own, it is the ultimate global wealth indicator. Stop checking your phone, stop fracturing your working memory, stop competing on raw hours. Build the sterile environment. Execute the 90-minute deep block. Reclaim your long form execution and force the global economy to pay you the absolute uncapped premium for the rarest commodity on earth, your unbroken attention. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I will see you at the top.